called the bend and snap. Watch this. I think I dropped something on the floor that I need to pick up. So you bend and snap. Come on, you try. Okay, yeah.
So let's set the scene. You and the fellas are in the salon getting your nails did so you can bend and snap your ways into your respective partners' hearts. Let's go play a round of golf, you say. But where? One of the homies says, let's go to Yarra Bend. It's one of the best public golf courses in Melbourne. And right there and then, you knew you had to cut this person out of your life. Look, all jokes aside, Yarra Bend is not a bad golf course. It's got a couple of things going against it, but also at its core, it's got some really good bones. Let's quickly talk you through some of the holes, and also talk about some of the shortcomings it has. And if it fixes it, maybe Yarra Bend might bend and snap its way into my heart. Quick note to add to anyone that hasn't played here in the past 12 months that they flipped the 9s around, so your first hole is now the par 3 that's in front of the pro shop. So if you're a little bit confused with the references of holes, that's why.
God, everything's fast.
We get to 12, which is the start of the best stretch of holes in my opinion on the golf course. 12 is a dogleg left par 4, risk reward. Pick a line over the trees and just hope that you've picked the correct line. If not, you're possibly left into the river or you've run through the other side of the fairway. 13 is a really cool short par 3, playing onto a green perched on the shelf. Don't go in the bunker, you'll be absolutely boned to try and get up and down from there. Avoid it at all costs. 14 is a long par 4, one of the only dogleg rights on the golf course. Bit of a blind tee shot, bit uncomfortable. Pick a line over the bunker and again hope that you don't run out through the other side of the fairway. "15 is a medium length par 4. Just blast away, it's all right there in front of you. 16 is a cool par 4 with your second shot playing over a gully to a green that runs perpendicular to your line of play. You can sort of run it up the bank on the right side if you choose. Don't go too far left with your tee shot because you will be blocked out by the trees. Depending on the tee, 17 is a medium to long par 3. The green is placed on this awesome little shelf. Really cool use of land. Let's roll through the ratings quickly. Course, I give it a 6 out of 10, an extra point for the presentation. Shout out to the greenskeepers and the grounds crew for keeping this place looking fantastic. Value, 6 out of 10. It's pretty much par for course. $43 on the weekdays, $52 on the weekend, and Twilight rates available if you do want to save a little bit of money. Pace of play. If you're Vin Diesel and you live your life a quarter mile at a time, Yarra Bend's probably not for you. The pace of play here could be described as glacial, but that's probably too generous. For context, we played here on a Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, and it took us 5 hours to complete our round. Another thing to note is that tee times are 7 minutes apart, which is way too close. There's been a focus on removing some bunkers in the past 10 years to reduce the maintenance costs and as well as speed up the pace of play. I'm alright with the maintenance cost part, but removing bunkers has sort of removed interesting characteristics and quite a bit of element of strategy in playing Yarra Bend. It's sort of like taking snakes out of Snakes and Ladders and then taking the ladders out of the game as well. Also, there was a time where Yarra Bend actually had really cool bunker complexes. So a bit of history, Yarra Bend was laid out by the Morecambes, who are sort of like royalty in the Melbourne sandbelt scene. Papa McMorecambe constructed Alistair Mackenzie's bunkers at Royal Melbourne and is also credited with the bunkering at Kingston Heath. His son Vern was an absolute menace, laying out golf courses all over Melbourne, regional Victoria, and even South Australia, and he did that pretty much as his weekend job. I did a bit of searching and found these old photos of Yarra Bend. Have a look at those bunkers. Now don't tell me that doesn't get you hot and sweaty, the prospect of sculling one out of there. Another thing to note when looking at these photos is how open and wide Yarra Bend actually is. I'm not going to say let's go deforest Yarra Bend, but maybe let's open up the fairways a little bit more, remove some of the trees in the right spots, and that could potentially speed up the pace of play by making Yarra Bend more forgiving. So another history lesson, in the 2010s, Yarra Bend got rid of his old first hole, which plays pretty much up the side of today's second hole, to build a driving range. This meant that there had to be changes to the layout and another hole had to be constructed, which is what we've ended up with today as the first hole, a little short par 3. This affected the routing and in my opinion affected it negatively. Today's sequence of 4, 5, 6, and 7 are actually quite repetitive. You've got a dogleg left par 5, followed by an uphill par 3, followed by another dogleg left par 5, followed by an uphill par 3. And visually they also look the same, bit of deja vu happening.
Deja vu.
The old layout had today's 4 and 5 as 2 and 3. So you started off your hole, you played the dogleg left, you played a par 3, and then you played today's 3 and 2. So you've broken up the repetitiveness with a couple of par 4s that go back and forth. That layout feels more organic and more natural, and I kind of wish that we had that routing available to us today. Look, all in all, Yarra Bend's probably not going to change any of these things. It's got a competitive advantage of being one of only 2 inner city golf courses that offers 18 holes to the public. And looking at the tee sheet, they're making bundles of money. This was more about if Yarra Bend really wants to be in the conversation for better public golf courses in Melbourne, then potentially restoring some of the bunkers, opening up the fairways and removing some trees might actually make me want to consider playing here and put up with a 5-hour round.